Well, first of all, I want to congratulate all of you. I am breathless as I sit here today, and not just because of all the finery in front of me, but also from the film last night. You guys are beyond badass. Amazing job. And I've talked to all of the elder statesmen, shall we say, previously about this film. So let's tackle the new guys to the team. Can you talk a little bit about the learning curve of blending action, learning armament and weaponry, and the benefits of having Brad Martin and J.J. Perry in your corner as stunt coordinator and fight choreographer? You can start, Kellen.
What's up? I think that's why we all love action movies. We all love shooting guns, and we all love learning new techniques. I know for myself, I'm a motocross player, so every time, every new action movie, I get to learn some new trait. Working with them, and to add Dan Bradley, who's the master of second unit and stunt choreography, and just compiling both of them together. I think what you had with the first one was the gem of all the action, and you had a lot of blood and guts. Second one, you had the humor. So what Sly's done with this third one, it's all trial and error. If you don't mind me, well, yeah. If you don't mind me, I just got done with the press tour, so I learned what to say, kind of. And, with this third one, you have a great layering of the action and the comedy. And then with all the stunts, I mean, we're all athletic individuals. I think, we all live an active lifestyle, so we get to push and push and push. And I think all the stunt guys, with AJ and Matt and Dan, they all know what we can do, and they push us to do even more. So it gets bigger and louder, and we definitely had a lot of fun doing this one.
Well, it's also a little bit of a boys' club. Like, there's a lot of pressure to, do the stunts yourself. Like, nobody, if they're like, oh, do you want a double? You're like, you can't do a double. Like, they're like, oh, you really want a double? So there's this one stunt that, JJ does where he gets blown off a bridge. And I go, JJ, that was crazy. He goes, no, man, that was loco. He lifts up his shirt, and it's loco tattooed on his stomach.
JJ was awesome in general that he truly tried to customize everything to us. So, I come from an athletic background, and he specifically found a bunch of judo and sambo specialists just for me in my fights, and not just judo techniques for me to do, but people that in judo, the person taking the fall is called the uke, and so he brought in a lot of people that were very proper ukes and knew how to take a good fall, and made things really easy for me personally. And then it was great just learning stuff. Like, my favorite things is when we got to learn how to clear premises together. And, we all took turns being point, and you're like, okay, this is how we do it Israeli style, this is how you do it Army style, this is Marine style.
That's
and
probably where I had the most problem. Remember that?
He just goes around the corner. Tactical, come on.
Dude, your barrel's
The
pointing
hardest
at
part
me.
for Victor is when we have to go in through a new door. We have to give commands silently, and his silence is something that I haven't really seen yet.
People say I'm a little loud, but I don't believe
No,
it.
they called you wannabe Rambo. It's what they just bust in a room and start shooting.
Yeah, and Dan was awesome in that he would just kind of let me go. So if I have the whole choreography memorized every time. So if I start, it's hard for me to stop because I don't really hear him say stop. So he would just let it keep rolling and let me just go through the whole thing every time. And he was awesome. He was really fun to work with. I had a great time.
Great. Question right here. Sure. This is for Sly. It's been announced. First of all, it's remarkable, Sly, that anybody's had 3 franchises in Hollywood history, and it's been announced that there's an Expendables 4 in the works. How long do you think this can go on, and could it ever go on and be with you being expendable? And secondly,
I'll keep him back.
and secondly,
After the fifth Expendables, you start wearing Dependables, so you just keep going.
My question is for Wesley Snipes. Your fans have been waiting for your return to the screen in the action genre. What made Expendables 3 and this character Doc the right project to be your first one back?
Well, it was a great opportunity to work with some of the actors that I've always admired. I mean, some of them are still sitting here right now. To get up close to them and see what they're like off screen versus what you see them on the screen and the characters that they portray. and also the chance to act a little crazy in this. My character's Doc is a medic, but he's been away for about 8 years, and he was quite lonely, so he had to spend a lot of time talking to himself and developing, you know, his own storylines to himself and friends with himself. So he comes out cuckoo. He comes out cuckoo.
That would be a good name, actually. Cuckoo.
Cuckoo? Friends with myself or cuckoo?
My question is for Mr. Stallone and Mr. Gibson back there. What was it like going mano a mano in that scene, and did you ever make any contact? And you know, what was it like just fighting each other?
It was good. You know, there is situations in actual sports where you have two rivalries get together, two people that have actually done very well in their own world, and then you say, I wonder how they would do against each other. So when that finally happens, it becomes an event. And
King Kong versus
exactly,
Godzilla.
exactly. That's the creature that then ate the
He's
monster.
Godzilla, he's
You know, it's an interesting thing. So the creature that ate the monster, that's us. And yes, a contact is made, and you do get hurt, and you work under. It's freezing there in the water, and you go, oh my God, I'm not going to do it again, but you have to do it again. So I've been looking forward to it. And Mel was, you know, he's a great athlete. He's very fast, very strong. And it was great being punched by him. Yeah, so thank you very much, Mel. I appreciate that.
There was no actual contact, you know.
Well, there was.
Kind of like movie sex, you know, you don't actually do it.
He's a bald-faced liar.
But, and you're battling arthritis, of course. But it was fun. It was fun. It was fun being shot full of holes by Sly.
That's right. If there's anyone I ever wanted to turn into Swiss cheese, it was Riggs.
Right. Really.
One of the greatest action characters in the history of action movies. And I'm wondering, if you could take one of your earlier characters and make him an expendable, which one would be the most fun to see join the group?
Blade. Yes! Yes! Blade.
Yes,
Blade
sir.
again.
Mr. Gibson?
Kind of, sort of.
Well, I mean, the obvious one is the crazy cop from the Lethal Weapon series, but I don't know. Maybe that whack job from, like, Conspiracy Theory. Maybe that guy.
I know. That would be nice.
Mr. Stallone?
Oh, yeah, the guy with the beaver.
The guy with the talking beaver talking.
Well, you know, you got to have the guy with the broken thing. Yeah, I think Rambo would fit in. And then he would turn around and kill them all. So it was like, you know, that's the downside of working with him.
Yeah. He's a loner, yeah.
Mr. Statham and Mr. Lundgren?
Mine would probably be the little garden gnome I did the voice for in Romeo and Juliet.
Asking me? Well, I was thinking Ivan Drago because he has this big monologues. He talks a lot, you know. He's good with words. Yeah, and also I can fight Sly again.
Yeah, Drago.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mel and Rhonda. Rhonda, talk about playing with the big boys here. What it's like, because I'm a martial arts fan. And Mel Gibson, when you first got the script, what was it like for you when you first read it?
When I first read the script?
Yep.
Wow, it was very involved. There was a lot of characters in it, and I didn't know how they were going to jam it all in, but somehow they managed to do it. And everybody got a fair shake, and there's a lot of people here. Yeah. And so hats off to Sly for sort of like enabling that to happen. When I read it, I thought, I didn't read it as I was the bad guy. In fact, I didn't even know I was the bad guy until I saw it last night. And it was like,
now that it's done. Funny.
I wanted to be the love interest, but there was no one to love, really.
What did I think when I first read the script? Is that what you're? I mean, it's definitely a very different environment that I thought that I was going to be like the new kid at the school when I walk into the cafeteria and everyone's like, can't sit here. Like, that's what I thought I was walking into. And they'd probably be like this chick, she's not even an actress and she's not even a guy or something. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting the worst. And yeah, I felt like the downy teddy bear when I actually showed up. I mean, everyone was just like so welcoming and warm. And
Woman, yes.
it's a woman, yeah. So no, everyone's really, I felt like they went out of their way to make me feel comfortable. And so I couldn't have asked for a better first project to be on. And, you know, I've always been like the one chick hanging out with all the guys anyway. I would have felt more uncomfortable doing Sex in the City 4, you know. So I'm really happy that I was here first.
Everybody here feels that way.
Question right here.
This is for
Question here.
so Mr. Stallone, I was wondering, so because I heard that Jackie Chan was invited to, but unfortunately he couldn't work in the movie. So I was wondering, is that a new role for him, or maybe, you know, what kind of role is it? And also in the future, maybe we can see more Asian stars in the
Yeah,
movie?
absolutely. Jackie, absolutely, there will be. Jackie was on, but literally it became a scheduling problem. When Terry said there should be a movie about the person who schedules the movie, people were coming in for, seriously, 4 days, 5 days, 3 days. It was critical timing. Everything stopped for them. We literally would shift the movie and just do their part, then go back to the film again. And then Harrison come in, everything's about Harrison. And Jackie just is so busy in his regular life. He has so many businesses, and he's so loved over in China, such demand, that he literally couldn't cut those 3 weeks loose. I'm what, 3 weeks? 3 days, 4 days. And we'll get him next time, don't worry, he's a good friend.
Question over here.
Hey, congratulations, everybody. Really enjoyed this. We've come to, it was a lot more words in this one, it seemed to me, and specifically for Sly and Mel, the scene where Mel...
Backstory is revealed. I thought that was one of the finest in there. Sly, did you write all of that on your own? Mel, did you stay on script? Talk to us about how that scene was developed, please. I just wrote a guideline, and then Mel came up with the idea of, well, he always wrote about Eric. Yeah, well, no, it's just yeah, I kind of worked on the script a little at night, and then came in and kind of hammered out. I handed the pages to Sly and Patrick, and they looked at it, and they went, yeah, it's cool. And it's, you know, it was just a theme of somebody who was subcontracted by his government and then thrown under the bus, you know, a real person. So it had a reality to it, is what Mel was trying to say. And he literally, and I think what gave it some heart is that he was actually saying something that had some truth, and it was valid, and he was committed to it, and I don't believe he saw himself as a bad guy, is what the key to the whole thing was. And then you bring in the aspect of Cain and Abel, and two of the best friends also can become the worst of enemies, because usually when you love something that much, you can also hate it even more because of that schism, that breakup. And he just killed it. In the van, I had some dialogue back and forth with him, and the more he did the scene, the more I realized I shouldn't speak. You know what I mean? So I just let him roll, and he was convincing himself, he's convincing me, he's convincing the audience, like, what'd you do today, Brian? Who'd you kill? What'd you blow up? What makes you holier than thou? So it was great. Question right here. Hi, everybody. Congratulations on the film. My question is for Mr. Hughes and Mr. Stallone. In the era of sensitivity to gun violence, does that change how you make a good old action film? What are the challenges of that? First of all, there's no blood. And ours is so over the top that it isn't something that you would expect people to repeat. But I know exactly what you mean. It's a very sensitive thing, and we experienced that on the second one. I really don't know the answer because it's part of mythology, but it's also becoming part of a reality that is, that I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what the answer is. We just try to make it so it looks as though it's a fantasy. It isn't real. Sometimes I think we make a movie. Some movies can get so real, and then you can say, oh, I can do that. There's not a lot of people that can do what the Expendables can do. Scott. This is for Mr. Stallone. You and Harrison Ford both kind of had your big career moments start right about the same time, and you've sustained careers over the years. I'm curious what your relationship with him had been like throughout your careers, and what it was like to kind of recruit him into this franchise, and your experience just maybe, I don't know, sharing Hollywood war stories with him. Oh, God, I go back with Harrison back to 77 at Columbus Circle. Both of us, just wondering how long this is going to last. And Harrison's a very insulated, intelligent, and funny, very witty, dry humorous. And when you tap into that, it's great. So when he got over there, once we opened up, he also worked on his character. He wanted to make it very personal. These are the kind of guys you just don't say, here are the lines. Do it or else. You know, really? No. And he worked on it. So I would say we were on a, I don't know if we were going to ever work together in Collision Course, but this thing was just, actually became very, very close. And I was just actually talking to him about his leg the other day. I said, better you than me. It was great. It was great. Anyway, we're having a great old time. Are we on? Yeah. Anyway, Harrison is special, very unique, and he can bring a lot to a scene with minimal effort. He's very good. Right here? The cast is full of martial artists, boxers, MMA fighters. Do you guys ever get a chance to like spar, put on the gloves between takes, and who wins? I'll start with Mr. Ortiz. Who wins? Oh, absolutely. Actually, it's a funny story, right? So I do my research before I arrived in Bulgaria, see if I can find a boxing gym. Rhonda found one, I found one. The one that we trained at is huge. When I walked in, I go, Rhonda, you gotta see this gym. This MMA match, there's 3 boxing rings. It's huge. So now she and I make this thing a daily thing. And when I'm not there, she's there. When she's not there, I'm there. And her work ethic is just insane. Mine as well. So one day we decided to go. She's like, would you like to do some stand-up with me? I said, you know what? I mean, I would love to. Just, you take me down. I mean, that's a different game. I can't really defend myself down there, but bring it. She goes, all right. So yeah, I'm lefty. I fight southpaw, lefty. So now I'm tricking her. I'm kind of getting her frustrated. And she says, she's looking at me like, she's looking at me like there. She was not frustrated. She's looking at me. I do this little step once. And she goes for it. I do it again, but on the second one, don't know what she did. I end up on my back in like a second. I don't know how she shifted the weight, but I'm on my back with like an arm bar thing, and then stop. Yeah, so yeah, it was close. Okay. Yeah, trying to do it. So him being a southpaw, I'm like, oh, this is great. We should train this. So he's like trying to get away from me, and I'm trying to close distance and ground. explain to him. Let me explain to him. You could believe it if you wanted to. And, what was I wrong? You didn't trick me into anything. I thought I tricked you. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't convince him that that was a good idea, so I misdirected him into thinking he was doing something smart, and then he ended up on the ground, and then, so he learned something that day. Yeah, I know, because I was training, and I was training partners inside to fight around New Year's, and so I was, rolling around after my training partners were doing some grappling. I'm already, on the ground. If it's like, hey, I know a move, I should show you a move. So then I'm like, you're going to show me a grapple? Oh, okay, yeah, there, so right there. I'm like, okay, so I'm laying my hands this way, and he lays down next to me. It says the other way, he looks at me, and he goes, 69. Come on, what's going on here? I got it, man. Unfortunately, I actually got beaten up when in scheduling, like I was touched on earlier, like we had to stay in the bar. I think we went back there 10 times because we never had all the actors together at once because that's the scheduling nightmare. And unfortunately, Rhonda's first time ever on camera was a scene with Sly at a bar, and she was really super nervous. And obviously, I could tell as the director, and I went up and I spoke to her, and I said, well, let's check this, like, what do you do before a big fight? And she says, well, I like to spar in a room, like get that nervous energy out. And I said, well, so you need to hit something. Let's try something here. And she said, but I want to hit you. And I was like, and she goes, put your arms up. And I'm thinking, Rhonda's just going to do this. And I put my arms up. And she goes, what? The next day, I was getting dressed, and my kids were there at the time. I said, I said, what's that? And I said, I had a huge black mark, I had a broken rib, and I said, I got beaten up by an actress. I was like, action! We have time for one last question right here. This would be for Wesley, Nell, Sly, Kelsey, one question, everyone, one question. But it includes like Harrison and also Antonio, but it's not so much Harrison anymore because you kind of talked about that. Who was completely new to the group that you didn't really know before and didn't have a relationship with? And anybody can answer this. And what was that like? Was it somebody you admired or had always been wanting to work with? Oh, I always wanted to work with Sly. I never knew when it would happen. I mean, I'd see him at some party up at a mutual friend's kid's birthday party or something, and I think, oh gosh, I wish there was some way I could find a way to work with this fella. I mean, we have a good mutual friend named John Hertzfeld, so we're in the same movie together that John directed, but when I actually kind of went after this in a way. I called John and said, can you get in touch with Sly and say, I'd like to be in that next Expendables? And something worked out. My agent, became a bit of a pest. And when I flew into Bulgaria, I had to get out of Transformers for a week, but Michael Bay was great about that, and I flew in, like you said, they just organized 4 days for that character of Bonaparte, and I had the best time with him. And it was a revelation to me in terms of just how smart and how improvisatorial Sly can be as well, and generous with his time and generous with his acting, except when he changed the camera angle a little bit to make me look shorter. But yeah, sorry. I just had the best time with him, and there was what happened was I discovered this real sense of fondness for the man, and I figured that had to be who they were, this Bonaparte character in relationship to what Sly was doing, and that they had a history and a kindness and a love for one another that had to be reflected in the scenes. And I just had the best time ever. And Wesley and I have known each other for years off and on, never worked together, still haven't, but I think he's fantastic. So I was thrilled to be in this film with all these extraordinary actors, but mostly I was just so happy to work with Sly and to find out how fantastic he really is. And I've been impressed ever since. And I hope we do something again together. Yeah, it really was. Even if you're in the business, I remember the first time I came out with these guys, and I get in an elevator and there's Paul Newman, and you're not prepared for it. You think you're prepared for it, it's like, and then I wonder if they feel the same way about us. And then I'm sure they do. You know, like, and the first time I walked in the room, there was John Wayne. I'll never forget this. And I'm in a red tuxedo, it was baby blue. I saw a picture of it, a big stupid bow tie, and it was for the People's Choice Awards. And I see this man, big guy, coming towards me, and he walks over and he goes, hello, my name is John Wayne, and I want to welcome you to the business. And I went, God damn, that's like, but that gives you an idea of the class of the guy. Usually people stand in four corners and everybody's looking away from him. Yeah, I hope you don't talk to me, I don't know what to say. You know, actors, as a rule, tend to be shy. You know, they're not demonstrative people. They really aren't. The same with comics. And so I thought it was great working with these guys because I know what they're going through. You know, Kelly's got a little more experience, but the rest of them are fairly new. And so you're sensitive to that, and I can feel their enthusiasm and nervousness. Rhonda, I wanted Rhonda from Jump Street. I knew she could be a star. I just knew it. You know, she just has it, and her nervousness worked for her because she's so good. You never knew she was nervous. Do you know what I mean? It's what it gave her the kind of energy. The rest of the guys, these are all one of a kind. We're not coming this way again. To find a guy like Terry and then Randy Couture, I mean, world champions. You have a real bouillabaisse of talent here, and it's great to be in the kitchen mixing it up.